Welcome back to Sunflower Cottage Crochet Stitch of the Week. Sorry this one's late. I was in the hospital. All kinds of fun going on there. But here we are, and this is the paired half double crochet stitch. If you remember, the first one was the single crochet version of that. So there's a paired single crochet. And it's quite textured and a little bit ribbed. This one is also quite textured, but it's not quite as ribbed. What I have noticed with these particular stitch patterns is that the first row tends to kind of curve like that, and I honestly think it would be better to start out with a row of just a regular stitch like half double crochet and then go into the pattern. But I followed the directions, so this is what you get. And here is a sample of color changing every other row or every row. It doesn't do it quite as bad with the color changing, and I'm not really sure why. So there you have it, I guess. I like the color changing on it. It's not, like I said, it's not ribbed, but it is extra thick. It's almost like that thermal stitch, which is really super thick. So, but you don't have to go through all the hoops and loops for that. Alright, so to get you started, this stitch requires any number plus 1, because I don't like to do the chain 2 for half double crochet. I feel like it is too much. So, I got myself a new hook. I splurged and got the Furls Odyssey in peach and nickel plating. So just had to brag about that. Of course, I'm bragging that I spent too much money on a hook, but there you go. It is kind of like the Beamer of the hook world, though. It is super nice. So any number plus 1. I'm just going to do 10 plus 1. And remember, I said it would probably be better to half double crochet first. So I think I will actually do that this time. And I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook, and I like to turn mine over and grab the back hump because I feel like it creates a nice clean edge on the bottom of your work. I apologize if my hands are shaky and my voice is a little wavering, but I am still recovering and heavily medicated. But I didn't want to make you wait any longer for this stitch of the week. As I work to the end here, the fabric that it makes is somewhat rigid, not nearly as bad as the paired single crochet, but still pretty rigid. So in my opinion, it still doesn't make a very good blanket. Grabbing some more yarn here. But I think it would make good like tote bags or kitchen and bath type projects, table sets, things like that. And you can use any weight yarn or whatever you want with it. Alright, so I got my first row of half doubles. So I'm just going to chain 1 and turn. And much like the paired single crochet, in the actual instructions for this, they want you to jump right into doing a decrease and then trying to fit one in on the chain. I'm going to say no. It works better if you just do a regular half double in the first stitch and then you start interlocking. So you're going to do a half double version of that paired single. So we're going to yarn over and insert into that same stitch that we just worked in and pull up a loop. Yarn over again and go into the next stitch. and then pull through all the stitches. So we're going to do it again. Yarn over and insert into the same stitch and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert into the next stitch and pull up a loop. You should have 5 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 5. So yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 5 loops. So you're just going to do that all the way down to the end of the row. Maybe. One other thing that I would note about this stitch is that you do not want to work this in the round unless you plan on turning your work each time. It helps to keep the stitches in balance, because what happens is that the stitches start to curve like it's doing right now, and it also stretches out the fabric and makes it completely uneven on the sides. I know, it's fabulous, isn't it? And just like the, oh boy, paired single crochet, it will curl up on you and make life a little bit difficult as you're trying to work with it, but the more rows that you crochet, the more it just relaxes. But definitely turn your work even if you're using it in the round. And I honestly too would recommend separating every couple of rounds with a straight shot of just half doubles, just to give it a little more variation and to straighten it out just a little more. Excuse me. So to continue on, you're only going to chain 1 and turn, and do just like we did with row 2. You're going to half double in the first one, and then jump right in to the paired half double crochet. Except when you have yarn that likes to catch and not do what you want it to do. There we go. I'm just going to blame it on the drugs that I'm having to take right now. And for those of you that are curious, I am using Red Heart, Super Saver, and Turquoise. It's a pretty color for a somewhat scratchy yarn. And I got a little too much tension on the new ball there. Yep, gonna have to pull that off. This is what too much tension will do. It screws you up every time. You're seeing all kinds of what not to do in this one. I try to get both loops. It's really hard with shaky hands. Alright, so yep, it wants to curl and bump up and turn on you a little bit. But as I've said before, once you do a few more rows, you will get a much better looking fabric. I really like the color changes. And color changing is pretty easy. You just finish your final stitch with the new color and then move up and do. So, pretty easy to do. Shoot me back some ideas of what kind of patterns you think you would like to see made with this. So far we have a couple that we're going to feature on the blog and possibly here on YouTube. Until then, thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button and the like button. And if you want to be notified of any of our next videos, hit the little bell icon. See you later.